everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. We are going to continue on with my tutorial using Whispering Way by 49 and Market. This is my Country Craft Creations February Design Team package project, and we are doing really well getting all of our things done. I do want to show you a couple things before we get started. So last time we were here, we worked on the back of page 3 and we worked on page 4, and I just wanted to show you a couple things that I did. So I added a few little rub-ons here. I haven't fully decorated yet, but I did go through and I added some rub-ons. So this was one of the quilted hearts. I hope you can see that. Whoop, page bit. One of the quilted hearts, and then I put some stitching over top, and I just kind of did a little something to fill that area in here. And then I also, to just kind of continue that, I added a little heart here down in the corner and left everything else pretty much the way it was on this piece. But that's what I did there. And then on this piece here, I did add a butterfly rub-on up here. And when you open this up and you do this, I added a butterfly up here, and then they have a lot of like ink spot pieces that I put here and here, and then I added a butterfly here with the spots there, and I did kind of overlap it onto the photo mat there. I thought that was kind of pretty. So that's how I did that. And then on the back of this page, I just kind of added some more of those splotches kind of around, but left it pretty much as is because I thought the flowers were really pretty. So I wanted to show you that real quick. So far we've got all 4 of these pages pretty much done. I am going to do some more decoration because I do have some lovely flowers. Let me show you. I have some really beautiful flowers. I have some buttons and some twine to use. So we'll go back and do that. But anyway, I wanted to kind of show you where we were at this point. I do suggest that if you're going to do rub-ons, to do it before you put these in the book, because it's just going to be much easier to lay these pages out and be able to do that. So that's why I was kind of trying to do that as I go. And then I probably will go back because, you know, I want to kind of fill in some spaces, but I still also have 2 more pages to go. So, you know, there's that. All right, so let's get started. This is the front of page 5, and you are going to need a couple things. We're going to have a flap with a seam binding closure, and then we're also going to have a pop-up mechanism inside with a removable tag. So you will need your base page here. So we've already had that prepped. And to make sure that this is the correct page, if you look at it without all of the scoring for the tabs and the give space here, it will be 6.5 by 8. So that's the page size. And then you will need a flap that is 6.5 by 8. You will need the closure piece, which is what this post-it is on, and that piece is 4.5 by 4. And then you're going to need some mechanism pieces. And I'll show you those real quick. I've got everything kind of clipped together so we can do this together. So one of them I already have done. You're just going to basically make a tube with this. You will need 2 pieces that are 4.25 by 8. And I did get some seam binding that is 14 inches long, 2 pieces of that. Okay, so those are our pieces that we're going to need for this. And to keep myself straight here, I wanted to put some seam binding. I wanted to put some score tape here so that I could add my seam binding to it and not forget to do it, because that would be tragic. So we don't want any tragedy today. All right, so let's get our scoreboard. Let's do some scoring. So we've already scored our base page, but we do need to score these pieces. So the 4.5 by 4 inch piece, we're going to just put it in our scoreboard with the 4.5 at the top, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to put the seam binding for the closure. So the other flap that we need, this is 6.5 by 8. We're going to put it with the 6.5 at the top here, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, all the way down. And then the 2 mechanism pieces that you will need are 4.25 by 8. So you're going to put both of these in your scoreboard. You're going to score at 3/4, 1 1/4, 2.5, and 3.5. Okay, go through that again. 3/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/2, 3 1/2. Okay, both pieces get scored like that. So we'll put this away after I bang it into something over here. And the first thing I will go ahead and do is put my score tape on and get that done. So this is going at the midpoint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down first because I want the page that I'm going to add is going to go on this side, and it's going to help secure this. So let me grab some tape here, my security blanket tape. We're going to put a couple pieces down there. We'll burnish all that down really well. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is add our little flap. So we have our flap piece here. I'm going to fold and burnish. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and add the seam binding to this piece and just get that done. Okay. So put my score tape down. Put that right in the middle. So this is 4 inches. I'm just going right in the middle there. Add a little bit more of my security blanket tape here. I got that a little bit too long. That's okay. And then grab one more piece here. I guess I could have left that. Doesn't matter. It's going to get covered up, right? All right. So put that down like so. Okay. So we got that part done. Then we can grab our page and add our pieces, okay? So use my scissors. We're going to miter that. And then we might as well, should have done this first. This is first thing in the morning. I'm trying to get everything done today. I want to get this tutorial done and out to you today. So I just came straight into my craft room. I've had one of my 2 cups of tea. So I got the other one going right beside me. So I might stop and take a sip. All right. So we will put this onto the side here. And if it's easier, just go ahead and fold your 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch piece down. We'll burnish. And you can use your ruler. I have a mat here. But this is 4 inches, so it's just going to go smack dab in the middle, so 2 inches up. You really don't even need your ruler for this. Or I don't, because I'm using my grid here. Just going to get my glue going here. All right. And just going to use my grid and center that at 2 inches. And burnish that down. I really hope you guys like this because I am loving how this turned out, or is turning out. I am super excited. And I know I don't usually do my tutorials like this where we kind of like do it and then figure out what it's going to look like. I usually show you guys first, but I don't know. This one, I don't know. I think this is going really well. I think that the tutorial was going to be really long if I tried to put this all in one, so I hope you're okay with this. All right, so this one is going to go on the opposite side, and it's going to just go top to bottom here, so we're just going to line that up. And lay that down. Like so. Okay, so this will fold over like this, and then we're going to tie the bow here. That's what's going to keep everything nice and close. But let's put our mechanism in first. So let's put this off to the side, and let's grab our mechanism. So like I said, I've already done one, okay? So we just need to make the other one. So we're just going to fold and burnish on all these score lines, okay? Again, when you fold and burnish, start from the middle out, okay? Tends to make a better score, straighter score. And while I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that everything's lining up. Okay. Like so. Okay. And then we're just going to make a tube. So we're going to just fold this over and glue it down. That's what we're gonna do, okay? So again, grab your glue, and on one of these 3/4 inch pieces, we're just gonna put our glue. And this actually comes from a variation of an old, kind of, or not, oh, well, I guess, yeah, it is old. It's a greeting card, or yeah, like a gift card holder thing that I'm kind of adapting to make into an album. So I'm just kind of folding it, making sure everything's nice and square. I'm folding it on all of the sides and just kind of burnishing that down and just making sure that it's nice and movable. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, the bottom edges where we've put our, glued our pieces together, that's gonna be on the bottom, okay? So these two pieces are actually going to glue together like this, but we're only going to glue them on the sides here. So I'm gonna get my glue bottle closer so I can quit reaching, and I'm going to, making sure that that's on the bottom, so the attachment side is on the bottom. I'm gonna just glue right on the sides, and I'm kind of staying close to the edge here, and what you can flatten these however it is more comfortable, and I'm just going to making sure everything's right, lay that down, okay? Just gonna stack them basically on top of each other. And when we do that, we should have our piece glued together, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open that up. I got a little bit of glue kind of seeping out, so let's wipe that up a little bit. Okay. All right. So there we go. Okay, so our two pieces are glued together. Okay, we're gonna let that dry, so don't pull it apart, don't wiggle it around too much yet, but those two pieces should be basically like kind of one continuous piece now, okay? Okay, perfect, like that. Okay, so then we grab our book, or page, I should say, grab our page, we're gonna open all of this up, and this is going to glue down here. It's going to glue to this page, and then it will basically fold and then be a pop-up when you open the page, and it should fold flat both directions. But then what we're going to do is we're going to have a photo mat that will insert here, so when you open it up, it kind of pops up and you'll be able to take it out. So that's kind of the idea here. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to glue it down to the bottom, and then we'll glue it to the side here. So I'm going to make sure that my joining pieces are again at the bottom, and we're going to fold this down, and I'm going to glue the two 3/4 inch sides to the bottom, or to the base of the page, I should say, okay? Like so. And I'm not going to go in that crease because I don't want glue going inside between those two, because that's where our photo mat's going to be. So I don't want to glue that down, okay? And then I'm just lining it up. I'm getting it right to the score. And I want to make sure that it's not over the score. And it's kind of hard to see because it's white. Right, but my page still closes, so that's good. That's what I want. Okay, and then I can gently fold it the other direction and make sure that's glued down. Okay. All right. So now what we have is this. Okay. So our 3/4 inch pieces are glued to the base. They're at the top, and the 1 inch side is on the side here. Okay, so that's what is coming up. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right, so then all we have to do is glue this 1-inch panel here to this page. So I'm going to fold this again, and I'm going to put glue on this entire like 1-inch piece. There we go. Then I'm going to fold my page over and glue that down. Okay. We're going to open that up gently. Okay, like so. So now I'm just gently working this down, making sure everything's stuck. Hopefully that worked out really good. Now let's close our page. Work it on this side. Just be gentle with it. Work it slow. Everything should fit. The corners should line up in the score. Everything should be glued down like so, okay? Okay, so then the idea is, let me show you. I've made this photo mat, and this photo mat should stick in here, okay? So then you'll close the page, everything will be closed up, and it will be tied with the seam binding. And then when you open your page, you have this photo mat that will come out. The photo mat is the pink. I use the pink coordinated solids, and it is 5 by 7, and then I cut the white at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Okay, so that will pop into here. Okay, it should open flat. Okay, just work it a little bit, but so you have it, it'll open, then you can take it out. You can put pictures on both sides if you want, but there's that. Now I do want to also show you real quick, I'll take this out, on the inside, so you don't have to cover the pages before you put this mechanism in. I did cut some pages that I wanted to put on just to show you. So this will go on the right. This is going to go on the left, okay? And then I cut them, again, 1/8 of an inch smaller, okay? So this piece here, I think they both measured the same thing, but 4 7/8 by 7 7/8. And this one again is same, 4 7/8 by 7 7/8, okay? And then I did cut my papers to go over those pieces, okay? So I cut 2 pieces of yellow. These are 5/8 inches wide, 7 7/8 inch tall, and then this is 7/8 inch wide, and that will go here and then on the top there. And then our little photo mat will go on the inside, okay? And there you go. So then this will close up. I'm going to leave this photo mat white and probably use some rub-ons on that, okay? That will close up. And then we have this page that I cut that's going to go on that side. And then this piece will go on the top here. And I'm thinking I will decorate with rub-ons and flowers and things here. So that's how that page is going to go. So that is the front of page 5. Now we'll go ahead and work on the back of page 5. I'm going to take all these bits off and glue them on later. So let me do that, and then we'll work on page 5. So the back of page 5, I had an idea for a slider page that I think will be kind of fun. So this is I think this turned out really good. I did a mock-up of it, and it turned out great. I loved it. So let's do this. You're going to need one piece that is 5 by 9. You will need 2 pieces that are 5 by 4, okay? And then you will need 2 pieces that are 12 by 1. I have those pieces here. So let's start off with I'm going to get my page out of the way for just a second and get my scoreboard and take the 5 by 9 piece. Let's go ahead and just put that right there for a sec. And we're going to put the 9 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 and 8.5. Okay. The first thing that we want to do is grab our book here, or I keep saying book. We grab our page And we're gonna grab our slider, we're gonna fold and burnish. Okay, fold and burnish. Let's miter. This is gonna be a fun one. I just had this idea and I thought, oh, this is gonna be cool. So I hope you guys like it. I do, I hope you like it. All right, so we fold and burnish, we got our miters done. And then what we're gonna do is take our page. Hey, I said it right this time. Aren't you proud of me? Okay, take our page, and what we're gonna do is just center this, matching it to the bottom. Okay, and it should go all the way to the top of the page, okay? And when we do this, we should be 3/4 of an inch in on both sides, okay? So I'm gonna do this first. I'm gonna put glue on just one side only. And then I'm gonna line that up again. And I'm gonna glue it down right to the bottom of the page. We're gonna do the tape trick on this just because I wanna make sure everything slides as nicely as absolutely possible. I wanna make sure this works really well, okay? So I'm burnish that down and then grab your tape. I love this tape holder. This high heel tape holder. When I got my very first craft room, my youngest son bought that for me to decorate, and I just love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put tape across there. Okay, then we're gonna glue that one down. We're gonna use tape as well, but what we're gonna have to do is put the tape on first. So I'm gonna open that tab. I'm gonna put tape down. And try and push that down without gluing it or taping it to my desk. Okay. Fold that again and use my glue. So the tape will cover the tabs and help things slide a lot easier. Use that trick in pockets and things like that. But it also works for things like this too. So there you go. Just gonna lay that down. It should match the top of our page perfectly, and it does. Okay, so there you go. All right, so I must have cut my other one a little bit off. So we're gonna go 3.5 by 8 5/8. Okay, so your two 12-inch pieces, score it 3.5 and 8 5/8. All right, so that's okay. This is how we fix things, right? Sometimes even in the prototypes, you get goofed up. Okay, so let's try this. Let's see if this works better. All right. That will, I think that's going to score much nicer, or slide much nicer. Okay, so sorry I'm being fiddly. Let's just do that. Okay, all right, so if you want to be super exact with where your glue goes, grab a pencil, because nobody's going to see this. It's going to get covered up. You can put a line here, a little pencil line, and you know exactly where your glue is going to need to go. Okay, making sure everything's straight. Okay, burnish that down. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, that's working about better. Okay. So, first one done. Do the second one. So again, we're going to put it underneath this. Fold it over. Fold it over. Making sure everything's nice and straight. Right. Yep. Okay. Just checking. Okay. Pencil line. Burnish. Glue. Okay. Okay. So these should slide pretty freely. Okay. So then what you want to do is you're going to take those mats. Oh, before we do that, let's do this because it'll probably be easier before we put the mats on. Okay, so these are going to need to slide all the way, and that's the other reason why we do the tape trick. And then I cut this piece of paper. Now you will notice that this piece of paper does not go all the way top and bottom. It doesn't matter as long as it's in between this 1 inch space top and bottom. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to slide underneath, and I could have put that down before I did the slider things. I didn't think about it, but probably should have done that, but that's okay because we can sneak it in. So we're going to put glue on this top part. Sorry about that. I'm going to slide that underneath like so. And I'm going to center it. So it just needs to be underneath those two. I'm sorry. I should have put this down first. I should have put it down first. My apologies. I am messing this up great big. And it'll slide down in there. So we'll go ahead, put some glue on here. So don't do what I'm doing. Put your paper down first and then put your slider on there, okay? So I'm just going to nudge this underneath there. Try and center it. Oh, man. Okay. Okay, let's make sure our slider pieces... Yeah, could have done that too. Moved it up and then put it under there. Good gravy. Yikes. Okay. Maybe I should have finished my second cup of tea. Maybe I should have done that. So, don't do what I just did. Okay? Let's make it easier on ourselves. Score your 12 by 1 inch pieces at 3.5 and 8 5/8. Okay? But before you put them on, put your pattern paper on. Now, it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom, okay? They're going to be covered up anyway. So I just used a piece that fit to cover that page. But put that on first, then put your sliders on, okay? Let's not do what Michelle just did. Okay, so then your pieces here, your pages, these are going to get adhered. One will be here. Okay, it'll glue right to the top of that slider mechanism. So I'm going to put glue okay, and then I'm going to try and make sure the slider is, you know, as centered as possible here, and I'm going to put that on there. Okay, straight as I can get it, right at the edge there. Okay. Okay, so that's the bottom one. Okay, and then the top one, we're going to do the same thing, except for we're going to do the bottom of the page is going to glue to that edge. Okay, so what's going to happen is you'll have the pages, they will meet in the middle, and then you'll be able to pull them up to show this part. That's what I'm trying to do. And I made it look way harder than it is. I'm not sure why I did that, but that's okay. We worked it out, right? We worked it out. All right, so again, I'm just going to put that on there. I'm trying to center it on the slider mechanism. Center it on the page. Go. Should be good. All right, and those will close. They should meet in the middle and cover that up. And then what you'll do is, boom, you have this slider piece, okay? There's a little section here I want to trim, so I'm going to grab, I must have not got my slider quite straight. You can see that. This is a little fiddly, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna straighten that up because it'll bother me if I don't, right? So back of page 5, once you get this done, you have these really great slider page. You can put a photo under here or leave it. They just meet in the middle and go like that. I use some scraps of the pink here, and these just are like 1 7/8 by 7 7/8. These are just going to tuck to the side here underneath that slider mechanism, okay, and cover the back of the page like so, okay, one on each side. And then I cut pieces of paper, and I grabbed a piece so I could use it in continuity so that I had, excuse me, I got it backwards, the image from one piece of paper. These are 4 7/8 by 3 7/8. And then the idea is that you can boop and grab that and open them up. Okay, so that is the back of page 5. I'm going to just take these, tuck them right here for right now, and then I will glue that on later. Okay, so I will cover the rest of that later and show you what that looks like. All right. The front of page 6, so page 6, we'll have the working page piece is going to be 7 inches by 8. So we've already got that taken care of. We've already done that. I should actually burnish both scores like I should, right? So we have our 1/2 inch for binding and our 1/4 inch give space. So we've got that ready to go. So this is going to be kind of a layered pocket page. I've done this before. I did it in one of my very, very first design team projects, one of my my first ones years ago, and I thought, well, I'm going to revisit this because I think it would be fun. So what you will need, we're going to do these pocket pages. So you will need a piece that's 8 by 7, a piece that's 6 by 7.5, a piece that's 6.5 by 5.5, and a piece that's 4.5 by 6. Okay. They're going to be graduated and they're going to go in different directions. So this will be fun to do. So let's grab our pieces here and let's go ahead and score all of these. Now these are all going to be pockets, and I want to make sure we score them in the correct way. Okay. So starting with our bigger piece, this is 8 by 7. With the 8 at the top, you are going to score at 1/2 and 7.5. Turn it, score on the 7 at 1/2. Okay, so we have that pocket right here. This one, to keep the orientation correct, what we're going to do is put an arrow. This will denote the top of the book. So this is the direction it's going to go. It's going to have a 1/2, 1/2, 1/2 open that way. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is the 6 by 7.5. We are going to put that in our scoreboard, 7.5 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2. At 7, we're going to turn it, score at 1/2. Okay, this one is going to go in this direction, meaning towards the top of the book. So it's going to open to the side. Okay, the next piece, 6.5 by 5.5, we're going to score at 1/2 and at 6 on the 6.5. On the 5.5, we're going to score at 1/2. Now this one will open at the top. This is the direction we want it to go, to the top of the page. Okay, And last but not least, the 4.5 by 6. On the 6, we are going to score half, 5.5, turn it, score on the 4.5 at 1/2. Okay, this one again is going to go to the side. So before we turn it, we want to do that. So you're going to have your half, half, half here. Opening is here. Okay, does that make sense? All the arrows are pointing to the top of the page. All right, so we've got that done. And then what we're going to do is miter, fold, and burnish. So I'll go through one, and then I'll do the rest, and I'll be back, so you don't have to watch it all. But when I do my pockets, I go as much to a 45-degree angle through the corners as I can to help with bulk, okay? And then just miter the 1/2 inch at the top, okay? Keep them in the right order, okay? And I'll be back. I'll finish these, and we'll go to the next step. So I have all my pockets mitered, folded, burnished. We're going to add them to our page in reverse order. So we're going to start with the biggest one. I'm going to put that off to the side, grab my page. And making sure that this is the front of page 6. Our binding pieces are right here. The biggest pocket is going to glue to the sides, down the bottom, match the side of the page. And remember, the arrow is pointing towards the top of our page. So I do want to, in the bottom of these pockets, put some tape. So I'm just going to put glue on the one piece so far. And line this up so it's to the score line to the edge of the page, right? And burnish that down. Go ahead and do that, and then we're going to grab my high heel here. We're going to put a little tape on there. Burnish that down. Okay, I'm going to use scraps to cover this. So we're not going to put pattern paper all the way down. So it's going to be important to do the tape trick, okay? Getting glue everywhere. Okay, so I'm gluing the sides. And if you want, well, no, actually you can't. Never mind. I'm going to scratch that in reverse. Okay, here we go. Okay, first pocket down, right orientation. So the next pocket, remember that this is pointed towards the top of the page. So we want to put it here. So right now we have a pocket here at the top with that first one. This one, we are going to put the pocket to the side, okay? So again, the bottom of the pocket or the back of the pocket, however you want to think about it. We're going to glue that right on top of the first pocket, like so, and just repeat the process, okay? Making sure everything's nice and straight. Okay. I'm going to turn it to the side so I can see better. My tape. Okay, and then glue those sides down. It's a graduated pocket that changes sides, which is kind of fun, right? Okay, second pocket done. So we're going to repeat the process. So the third pocket will go here. All right, so we're going to put glue at the bottom. Again, we're stacking them. We just keep going. Now, you can stop at 2 pockets. You can stop at 3 pockets. I stopped at 4 pockets just because I felt like it. You can add as many layers as you want. I just thought this was probably enough. nice and straight. Oh, shoot. Did I not do tape? I didn't do tape. Got to do tape, guys. All right. Whoever was screaming at me out there, thank you. Thank you. I heard you. There we go. Forgot my tape. So that way when we put our tags in there, it will, you know, slide in there nicely and won't get caught up on the edges. So thank you for hollering at me out there. Okay. All right. Now we glue it up. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So far we have pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. Last one, again, it's going to go to the side. Okay. All my arrows are going in the right direction. Okay. Make sure everything fits nice. Tape. I don't know where all these fuzzies come from. It's kind of crazy. There we go. All right. Down we go. All right. So that's done. That is that page. Now I did cut pieces to go on this page. And like I said, you can use scraps. So I went through, and this was actually from one of the first papers that I cut, and I kept the chickens because I really wanted to use them. So they are going to go on this pocket, and I'm so excited about this. So I cut papers to fit. Now this piece here to fit this pocket is 3 7/8 by 4 7/8. So I thought this would be like a good photo map page too, because it does have some blank space here. So that's going to go there. And then I just kind of cut the pieces to fit the pockets. Okay. So I cut them all. They're all around 2 inches to fit in here because this is a 1 3/4 inch space. So it will tuck in about 1/4 inch. Okay. And go in there. So that will tuck in there, and I will glue that down. The next piece here will tuck in here. So this piece here, I didn't tell you, same as this pocket, so it is 4 7/8. So this one is 5 3/8. This one is 6 3/8. And that will just tuck underneath. Okay, and then my beautiful chickens that I saved are going to go up here. Isn't that a cute page? I love how that turned out. So that's what's going to go in those spaces. So I love it. My chickens are 6 7/8 inch wide. Okay, so that is the front of page 6. I'm going to take these out. I will glue them down in a little bit. But I wanted to show you that's what we're going to do with that. And then let's go to the back of page 6. The back of page 6, we're going to have a kind of a mini waterfall, if you will, that will go up here. We're going to have a corner pocket down here. And then we're also going to make the pocket a diagonal. So page out of the way for just a second. Let's talk about the scoring. You don't need too many pieces for this. For the pocket, we're going to have a piece that's 4 by 4. And what I want you to do is on one side here, we're going to score at 3 1/2. And then we're going to turn it and score at 1/2. So you want your score lines, however you do it, but you want your score lines to end up being 1/2 inch on this side and 1/2 inch on this side. Okay. And then you're going to take this piece. So that was the 4 by 4. And then you're going to take a piece that is 11 by 3 3/4. And we're going to score on the 11 at 5 and at 5 1/2. Okay. So let's get this off. We did our scoring. That's all we need to do. let's fold and burnish on our score line. So I kind of already did that. You saw that. We're just going to fold and burnish on our score lines, and it'll make this kind of mini waterfall, just a 4-page waterfall. Okay, so that's ready to go. We've got our pocket here, so I'm just going to, let's miter first. Let's miter all the way across, and then let's fold and burnish. Okay, and then what I want to do is grab your trimmer, and with it still folded, what we're going to do is we're going to cut across all of that business at the diagonal. So I'm just going to put this in my trimmer with everything folded, and it's just going to miter everything while I do it. And I'm going to line up those points. And trim that off, okay? So you should have a piece that looks like that, okay? Let's get this out of the way. And then let's grab our page. And the other thing that we do need to do, let's see. Okay, so we grab our page, and we're going to go ahead and glue our pocket down to the corner, okay? I'm not going to use a tape trick because I'm going to have a piece of paper that's going to cover everything underneath this, okay? So I'm just going to put the glue on, and I'm going to go right to the side of that score at the bottom. Glue that down. Like so, okay? Then you need to cover this page with your pattern paper, okay? So I did cut a piece to fit that, and I really liked it. I wanted to use my little mice. So this page is 6 7/8 by 7 7/8. And again, we're just going to pop this into the pocket, and we're going to glue that down next, okay? Okay, so I like to kind of get it in the pocket, line it up, make sure everything's nice and straight, and then what I like to do is I hold it down and then I glue it. Didn't go very close to that, did I? Okay. That way, when I hold it and I lay it back down, it goes where I want it. Now, if I try to put paper with glue on it and try and tuck it under like you saw with the other page, then I tend to make a mess and it's harder to do. So I like this method here. But, you know, again, do what makes you comfy, okay? Okay. Okay, I'm going to take that off for just a sec. So we have our page covered, we have our pocket. Then what we're going to do is take this piece, and I tried to do it, or I'm going to try and do it, so that it is, I have the little mice kind of peeking here and here. I was kind of thinking about that when I cut this page. And so this is going to be a little off center, but that's okay because I want my mice to peek out. Now, if you're using a different page, a different photo, you can totally line it up, but I really didn't want to cut or cover my mice, okay? So if you're using a different paper under here, if you choose something different or using a different collection, you can totally center that. I'm not going to because I want to make sure that I don't cover up my little mice. So I'm going to put glue on that 1/2 inch, and then I want to try to keep it straight as I possibly can. So I want to go kind of to the edge of that mouse. So I'm just using my ruler just to help guide me a little bit, make sure I keep it straight. And then I'm going to just glue that 1/2 inch down, okay? Maybe over a little bit more. There we go. Okay, like so. Let's open that up and make sure that it's burnished down. Whoa, why do I keep going under there? That's strange. So my little mice are peeking around the corner. I like that. It's straight. I like that. Okay. So then I chose this paper to go over top. I think that's really pretty. Now I do also have that paper, which would make kind of a nice little photo mat as well. But I don't know, I kind of like the flowers. And I know that the print goes this way, but I think the flower direction goes up that way. So I'm going to do it just like that. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. And then I'm going to, you'll be able to open it up like this. I'll put paper here, but I'm going to leave these open for photo mats, and I'll probably, like I said, put rub-ons and stuff on them just to decorate them at this point. Now we need to cover this pocket. So diagonal pockets, when you want to cover them with pattern paper, here's what I like to do. I measure it across, so it is now 3.5 on the straight edge. So I'm going to actually cut a piece of paper that is 3 1/4. Okay, so 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then we're going to cut that at a diagonal. Just make sure you cut it at the right diagonal if it is directional. So meaning that I want to cut the slant this way. So just make sure you get the direction right. We'll put it in our board here, or our cutter. I'm going to cut at the diagonal. I'm going to put that piece off to the side, and there you go. We have that piece. Okay. Now, that should cover perfectly, and it does. If you want the other side, you can do that, but the bricks are going the opposite direction. So, the back of this, yeah, they're kind of going in the opposite direction, so that's not going to work too good, but I like that. That's what I planned. So, we're going to go with that. Okay, so I'll go ahead. Actually, I won't put that on there yet. I did make a tag that goes in that pocket that keeps everything closed. Okay, so that's how we're going to keep this from flapping around. So this piece of paper measures 4.5 by 7.5, and I just used my tag corner rounder to punch that. I did cut a piece of white to go as a photo mat. It is 4 by 6, and I put that down there. I left it kind of more towards the bottom than the top, and then I used the rub-ons up here, and I did overlap the picture just a little bit, and then I used the rub-on here with some splotches just to decorate that. I thought it was pretty, but left the back blank at this point. And then I punched a hole, and I just used my Crocodile with the smallest 1/8 inch hole, and then I looped some seam binding through, and then I tied the twine around that and then looped that through a button, and that's how I decorated that. So then that will just go into that pocket. It will be a really pretty another photo mat, and that will complete that and close that flap here. Okay, so if we put this here, that's how that page is going to look. I just love how this is turning out. I just love this album. Okay, so that's the back of page 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through all of my pages. I'm going to glue everything down. I'm going to put rub-ons on, and then we are going to put it in the book, and then we will be done with the actual construction of this album. Okay, so I will see you in just a little bit. Hey everybody, I'm back, and what I thought we'd do is go through the pages. I went through and used the rest of my rub-ons, and I'm happy to say I have nothing left. I smashed that entire package of rub-ons on this album, so I just wanted to kind of go through and show you what I did. So we're going to start with page 1, and then I'm also going to talk about the tags that I did make to put in things. So I put a rub-on down here, this beautiful little floral piece, because I thought it needed something. Inside we have this rub-on that I used, that I just cut in half, and I used one on the top and then one on the bottom for this. And then I also went back in and added the heart rub-on right here. So this is just a nice photo mat page with the magnet closure. When you turn this over, we have the pocket page. Now I did already have this on here, but I did add the butterfly up here to that. And then I did create some tags for this. So I used some of the pattern paper here. And what did I do with my ruler? Here it is, found it. So I cut this piece 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I added some of the splotch rub-ons here and a little bit of the chicken wire. I did put chicken wire on this, and then the piece that I cut off added up here. So I kind of cut off this side actually, and then just used it to add up here with some of those paint splotches. So the front I left blank, and then the white I cut at 3.5 by 5.5. So there's that photo mat. And then this piece, I had to use this with the roosters on it. Thought it was really pretty. So again, I did add the chicken wire down there. And then on the back, left this as I had it before. I think I showed it before. Anyways, if I didn't, I added the rub-on up here, and then I put the photo mat here. This tag measures 3.5 by 7.5, and then the photo mat is 3.25 by 3.25. So that's what I did with that. And then on all of my tags, I did punch a small 1/8 inch hole, put a piece of seam binding through it, and then tied my twine through a button completely around it. And that's how I attached those. So these two tags go in here. This page, again, the photo mat with the splotches, and we have 3.5 by 4.5 with the pink coordinating cardstock, and then 3.25 by 4.25 for the white. So I left that as is, kind of focus on that little mouse there, and then the picture. This is our slider page. So I did add the rub-on here, and then again, you can open this 2 ways. You can slide it off, or you can just take it off by pulling. And then I just left the inside here. I did add the rub-on here, but I didn't, and the rub-on down here, but I didn't add anything else in there. I left the photo mats blank. So there you go. There's that. I'm going to leave this off for just a second just to save time. Didn't do anything extra with this page. I did add the rub-on on the front, and then I did add the strips from the packaging, you know, the branding strip from the paper. That's where I got that gingham piece. Okay, so that's all like that. Then this will just tie in a pretty bow and keep everything nice and closed. Okay, so on the back of page 3, we have this explosion, the side pop out. It has a magnet closure here. Didn't add anything to there, and I kept this the same. So I did add the rub-on heart with the stitching over top there, and then the little tiny rub-on heart in the tile there, and left the rest as is, and that just closes up like that. So there is page 3. Now page 4, we have this flap here, and it explodes out. I left this again the same, so I added rub-ons here with the butterfly and the splotches here and here, and then the butterfly with the splotches here, and that's how that page came out. Okay, added the butterfly up here, and that was pretty much it. I did add, I had a little extra splotch, so I did add a little bit there. Okay, they blend in so well, it's hard to tell. So this page here, splotches up here and here, and I left it as is because I just wanted a photo mat page here. And again, the pink is 4.5 by 3.5, and then the white is 4.25 by 3.25. Okay, so the pages that we did today, pages 5. So on the front of this, there was a great big windmill that I wanted to add, so I did trim it to fit and put it off to the side a little bit. So I put the windmill there, but otherwise I left that as is. And then when you open this up, I did add the bumblebee with the chicken wire and the stitching, that rub-on piece there for that photo mat. And then this opens up. Left this as is. I did put the pattern paper on. Okay, here's our photo mat. I left the other side of this as is. And then on the photo mat, I did add this really pretty rub-on, and it had some splotches and just really pretty with the florals and everything. So I thought that was really pretty. And then on the back side, it had this rub-on with the water wheel and the ladder. So I put that down there as well. And then again, this just tucks into that pop-up space, so you have that nice little pull-out pop-up there. And then this will close up and tie with our ribbon, like so. So I wanted to show you that. I did tie knots in the end of my seam bindings so that they won't come untied for the ties, but I did not do that for the ribbons. So here is our pull-out page. I did add a butterfly up here, and then you just take the top and the bottom and pull it, and then there's your kind of hidden page underneath that. Now, if you wanted to, you could probably put something under here, but with the sliding mechanism going around that band, I didn't really want to do that. So I left this pretty much as is, except for adding the butterfly there. And then here's your pocket page. So I did add all of my pattern papers here. I added bumblebee rub-ons here, here, and up here. And then I also added stitching here, here with the splotches. I added splotches up here, and then this was a rub-on as well that I decided to put on there. Now the tags for this, let's talk about the tags for this. Let me get this out of the way for just a sec. I did make all of the tags, and again, I put the blue seam binding through and did the same thing with tying the twine through the buttons to put that on there. And I just cut the pieces of pattern paper and pretty much left them as is. Some of them I did add a few little rub-ons, and I'll go through that, but this one here is 5 by 4.5, and this is just a piece of the scrap paper that I thought was just absolutely gorgeous, so I'll have that. This one goes into the next pocket with a cute little mice. Gotta have my mice. This is 5 by 6, okay, and on the back of this I did add the rub-on butterfly that I had on the back of that page, so I thought that prettied that up. On this page, I did add a rub-on down here for the tile. I thought that was super pretty. This one is 6.5 by 6. Again, just scraps I had left over, cut to fit. And then on the back here with all that tile, that's why I put the tile here to kind of tie it in here, and then also to tie in the tile there. And then I did put the lantern up here, and I thought that turned out really pretty too. It's real subtle, but it's there, and it's real nice. And then this one, the last tag here, I had to have my cow. So this is 6 by 7.5. I left the front as is because it is pretty busy there. And on the back, I did put the Farm Fresh eggs with the rooster and the ladder down here with the rub-on, and I left everything else as is, okay? Did I? No, I added the other side of the tile there. Sorry. You can kind of feel them, so I'm like going like, where did I put them? They blend in so beautifully with the rest of the papers. It's just like it's really hard to tell. So there's that. Now let's put them in the pockets. So again, this one goes in here like so. This one goes like this. This next one goes here. Okay. And then this one, oops, goes here. All right. So that's how that page turned out. I love it. And then this page here, we talked about all of this. The only thing that I added to this one was I put the mouse here. I had this other little rub-on ready to go. This stayed the same, so we already talked about that tag. I didn't add anything to the back. I put the pattern paper on here, and then I also put a strip of wood paper there. And so I left the rest plain for photo mat opportunities, okay? And then this goes in the pocket, and then we're all done. So now we have to add them to the book. So let's grab, I'm gonna put these things off to the side real quick. Hold on. Grab my pages, get our cover. So we have our cover. So what I want to do with this is measure in 1/2 inch and start laying my pages down. This is my L-hinge binding. And so what you will do is we will put glue on this 1/2 inch. We're not going to put glue on that 1/4 inch. And then this will set down 1/2 inch in and about like a 1/16 of an inch from the pattern paper, or about an 1/8 inch from the bottom. Okay, so we can use our ruler. I am going to go in 1/2 inch. When I cut this pattern paper, it is just about a 1/16 of an inch shy of 3 inches across, so that little bit isn't going to matter. So you can use your ruler. It's going to be a little tricky because this is creating bulk. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to use my spacer from Country Craft Creations, and I'm just going to lay that down right to the edge of that pattern paper, and then I'm going to use that to keep everything straight, and then I will eyeball it top to bottom, okay? And that's how they're going to start laying down, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start with page 1 here. And if it's also easier for you, you can take all of the business out of the pockets and debulk the pages a little bit if you want to. Whatever is easier for you. And I'm just going to hold that down. And that looks about right. Okay, we're going to go with that. I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to grab my bone folder, and I'm going to press that down. And then I'm going to open this up gently, and I'm going to press that down, okay? Looks like I did pretty darn good, okay? Make sure that's nice and burnished, okay? Second page, I'm going to take our little mousy page, and I don't have my little slider clip on here right now, so I'm going to make sure to hold that down, and I'm going to put my glue on the 1/2" tab. Okay, and I'm going to just butt this right up against that 1/2" that's glued down from the first page, okay? Make sure everything's nice and lined up. You can kind of push it in as you're doing this, okay? Take my bone folder, press that down, open it carefully, press that down, okay? If you have any glue, get that out of the way. Page 3. Same process. And the only page that's different is the last page, page 6. We're going to glue that on just a little bit different, okay? So don't get crazy and glue them all down like this, because that one is glued down a little bit different, okay? So I'm laying that down. Again, butting that up. Finger press down. Kind of press that down. Open that up. Boom. Okay. Keep going. Page 4. And if this is monotonous, you can fast forward a little bit till get to page 6. But I'm just going to keep doing the process here and get 4 and 5 glued down. Okay. Like so. I think this book turned out absolutely gorgeous. The paper is stunning. I just love this. Page 5. Page 5 again. That 1/2" only. Okay, now we're to page 6. So this is where it gets different. So you see we have blue paper here, we have blue paper here. We don't want to cover up this blue paper. So if I were to keep going the way I was going, I would cover up that blue paper, and that's not what I want. So what I want to do is, instead of gluing this side, I want to glue the opposite side, and then I'm going to lay it right over the tab of page 5. So that way when the page turns, you still have the blue. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to glue the back side of that this time. Okay. And I'm going to lay that right on top of the tab of page 5. Going to go to the score, but not into the score because I want my pages to turn, right? Okay. I'm going to kind of burnish that down. There we go. And then turn my page carefully and make sure on this side nothing is coming out. No glue is coming out. Okay. All right, and that's it. Okay, all that's left now is that I need to put my papers in on here, and I also need to make sure that I put this back on so I don't lose it. And again, this can close 2 ways. You can slide it on and off, or you can tuck it in there. Like so. Okay, so adding my pattern paper here, I'll do that and then we're done. I mean, as far as the album tutorial. So what I'm going to do next, after I glue these down, I'm going to do a separate video with a full-on walkthrough, and then we're finished with this project. So this project I thought was really fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for hanging out with me and doing this a little bit different than I normally do it. But I think this turned out really gorgeous, and I think it's a great collection. So this, again, is my Country Craft Creations February Design Team package, and I used 49 and Market Whispering Way, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous country-themed collection that is, I don't know, just amazingly beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I love it. It's beautiful paper. So I have links down below. This will also be in the playlist, so I do have a haul video so you can see all of the products that I used. I am going to go back. I still have to add flowers and things like that, so that will be in the final walkthrough. And yeah, I think that's it. So hints and tips, again, put your rub-ons on before you add your pages to the book. I think it will be way easier to do it that way than trying to go around all of the things. I did do the pages with the pattern papers as you need to do them. So some pages you don't have to add pattern paper till you're done with all of the mechanisms, but some pages you do, so please follow the tutorial for that. As always, I am available to help if you have any questions. And yeah, just let me know what you think. I did use almost an entire package of artisan cardstock. I have what, almost one whole sheet left. I actually did, nope, actually I have one sheet left of the artisan cardstock from making this album. So do get a whole package of artisan cardstock. And did I miss one? What did I do? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I missed one. I thought I cut enough pages, but I didn't put them all down at the same time. So there you go. I used almost a whole package of artisan cardstock, one sheet left over. So there you have it. And I used a great majority of the papers that I had. So everything that I had in the haul, I think I only have, let's see, 3 sheets that I didn't cut into. So yeah, you'll need all of the sheets for that, including the coordinated cardstock. So that really covered this album. I did use most of my stuff. I did use all of the rub-ons, and I'm going to start using more buttons and flowers and things like that too. So there you go. That is the album. When this is closed, when you open it, look how pretty that is with the cascading pages and everything. So there you go. There's my album. Lots of room still to add photos and do your thing. And I just think it's great. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys. And I will see you again soon with more fun tutorials. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.